All right, and welcome back to the Shuttlecock podcast. My name is Aaron Rhodes. We're sponsored by the Vinyl Underground at 7th Heaven, selling new and used vinyl at 76 and Troost in Kansas City. This week on the podcast, we have none other than Gabe Coppage. How you doing?
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah. So, if anyone has been to a Kansas City DIY punk show in the last several years, I feel like they've probably seen you play drums at some point.
Yeah, that's pretty likely. There's always a lack of drummers, but yeah, I played in a bunch of bands. It's probably like the last 4 or 5 years. I think I went to my first show in Kansas City in 2011, something like that. I was probably 18. Yeah.
Did you grow up outside of Kansas City?
No, I grew up in the city. I grew up pretty close to Waldo, in between Holmes and Troost in the 70s. So in the city, But yeah.
And so, when did you first start playing drums?
I actually have been playing drums since I was 9. I think is when I started out just playing percussion in school band, and then I liked it, so just kept doing it. Played through high school, in jazz band and all that, and I was taking lessons when I was younger. So
did they have you on the quads when you were?
I did drumline freshman year, but I couldn't do it after that. It was too much. But it's fun. No Nick Cannon though,
And you said you ended up doing jazz band after that. Did you have fun doing that, or was it more just your family wanted you to do something? And
oh no, all the band stuff was definitely my own decision, but family's definitely been super supportive of my music the whole time. That's I probably took lessons for 4 years, but my parents were paying for that. I was 12. I didn't have any money, so.
So. If you're doing all this kind of more standard classical and jazz drum work, when were you first kind of were you simultaneously listening to a lot of punk music and stuff? Or?
I actually was not. I've always kind of been a loner or whatever, so I really didn't know about anything going on in town. I went to starting in middle school, I started going to Catholic school, so I was not exposed to a lot of stuff like that until after. But I think I first found out about it the summer before my freshman year of college, so that was 2011. My friend Fritz Hutchison, who's also a drummer, I think he took me to my first show at the Studded Bird. It was Suck Dry and Kicked In, so pretty good,
Yeah, it's
icy lineup. Yeah.
So what kind of music were you listening to up until that point?
I've always kind of listened to a lot of hip hop, but definitely gone through phases, in high school, listen to metalcore and whatever, I just was kind of finding stuff on my own. And then I went to my first show. I was oh, this is what I've been supposed to be doing.
Did you end up at Warped Tour? Is that?
Yeah, dude. When I was 15, I was just talking to somebody probably 2009. I was 15. Yeah, I was killing it.
And what made Fritz think you would be into the DIY hardcore stuff?
Fritz had been going to shows, and so he just knew about it, and he knew I liked, that, I would be into it, I think. And we're both drum buddies, He's still playing all the time, He's definitely was a big inspiration coming up. He's a killer drummer.
Did you go to school together, or how did you know him?
I knew him through people he's older than me, but some Connor Burke is in my grade, and they were really close. So
Fritz's name sounds familiar. Has he played in a bunch of Kansas City bands, or
not in any punk bands, but he's pretty much a professional drummer at this point. He'll do studio stuff, but he has his own band, the Fritz Hutchison band. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. But shout out to Fritz. Showing me my first show.
And at what point like, did you know, like, right away, like, oh, this is going to be my thing?
Yeah.
I want to get involved? Or
Yeah, no, it was cool. Actually, I do remember why Fritz took me is because, like, Fritz also got me a job at Indigo Wild. It's like a soap factory in town, and at the time, like, I feel like everybody that played in bands worked there, you know? So that's how, like, Fritz took me to a show so I could, like, meet people outside of work. But, yeah, that's really also working at that soap factory. You know, I met, like, the No Master dudes and all that, so.
Yeah, well, I know, like, I'm pretty aware of, like, there is, like, a history of punks working at the soap factory. Do you know what that really stems from? Is it just, like, kind of an easy gig to get? Or?
Yeah, I think I think it's a lot different now than it used to be. But yeah, I think, you know, just it's nice working with your friends, and they were always good about hiring whoever, so. But, yeah.
And so, yeah, do you have, like, any real, like favorite memories of just, like, those early days going to shows and, like, Stutterbird stuff?
No, it was just, like, really being exposed to, like, a whole new thing. It was crazy, just, like, going to shows by myself, like, in my parents', like, Corolla or whatever. But it was just, like, taking it all in. It was crazy. But, like we were saying, like, having taken, like, or, like, studied drumming, I guess, like, coming up, like, I definitely was, like, starting from scratch with, like, punk drumming. I feel like I had no idea how to play any of that type of stuff. Like, I could play loud, but not, like, I don't know. I just, like, I would just, like, listen to certain records or whatever that I was into and just, like, over and over and, like, learn the drum parts. And that's how I learned, you know, like, the crucial punk beats or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure, like, you just get tossed into it, like, a suck dry show, having come from playing jazz drums, and you're like, man, is this a blast beat? Like,
it's like, it's punishing in a good way. Like, yeah, Lil Davey. Shout out Lil Davey, too. Definitely big inspiration. It's killing it. Like, that's for real. Like, that first No Master 7-inch is, like, I remember, like, really zoning in on that one.
The self-titled one? Or?
Yeah. Just had to get the D beat down. So.
Yeah, that and man, that thing holds up too. Like, I come back to that record like every year or so, and I'm just like, this is nuts. I'm glad I got to see this band when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah, I definitely think they're underrated. Just like in general, like that people outside of Kansas City don't know. But yeah. That was
I feel like they did kind of achieve like a pretty like notability within the Midwest, but beyond that, they really should have like been like kind of nationally known. I feel like
that's totally, it's perfect.
And then Agent follows, and it's just as good.
Devin is born to be a front man. It's awesome.
And so I did kind of want to talk about your drum style for a minute too, because like I didn't know until today that you were, you know, playing jazz drums and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it makes a lot of sense because I know you just have like a really like kind of precise, technical, like speedy style. Yeah,
definitely.
And so I guess that comes just kind of as a fusion between like punk drumming and jazz drumming.
Yeah, I studied like rock drumming too, and when I was taking lessons, but I think, and I just like think about those like early punk bands. I feel like a lot of those dudes, like, you know, they didn't have like punk records to listen to, so they were like coming from similar backgrounds maybe, and I think it's just cool coming at it from a different angle. But I feel like I've been trying to be less technical recently. Like, I started out, I just feeling like I had to learn, like, this way of playing punk drums. And, like, you know what I mean? I, like, really focused. Everyone just told me to play as loud as possible. I'm like, I am. But, I've been trying to loosen up a little bit. Just thinking about it differently always.
And when you say you kind of studied, like, other rock drummers, like, what kind of bands were you looking at when you were doing that? Oh,
I just mean, like, I took lessons from this dude, Doug Allwater. He's actually still teaching at Explorers Percussion. But yeah, he like has like a couple books he's even written, so we would just like go over like basic rhythms, and he has like a big Latin book too, so that stuff is really interesting, I think. But yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, because you mentioned that like you are like consciously trying to be like a little less technical now, and does playing with Unforgiven 5 kind of like give you a chance to like veer away from punk drumming a little bit?
Yeah, I feel Warm Bodies is the same. I feel as though it's like a natural evolution though, not like I'm trying to be one thing and not. It's not like I'm like I still love hardcore and all that. It's just like I like just was doing the same thing over and over. I like would catch myself just like, I had the same parts and I would play it the same every single time, like live at practice. Like I just, but now I like am really trying to like, I don't know, play around and just like see what happens live. And like a lot of times it's like figure out stuff. It's cool. If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah. And so do you kind of see yourself like trying to just like hone in your own like real kind of like a signature style, would you say, or are you just trying to be more creative about it in general?
I think just more creative in general. Like I'm always I'm not ever really thinking about it being like my style. Like I feel like I know what people, you know what I mean, are used to or like would expect me to sound like in a band, but I'm really just like taken from different people all the time, and like I watch drum videos on YouTube all the time, just get in holes of that. But yeah, like other drummers in the scene definitely influenced me too. Like when Tony who played in like Phantom Head and everything, like when Beta Boys played with Phantom Head, and that was the first time I saw them. I was like, first time I ever saw Tony play drums, I was like, damn, I really need to like step it up. I just like I'd never seen somebody play drums like that, and it was cool. Yeah.
What do you like about Tony's style?
That's what I mean. It's like looser, but also just like Warm Bodies and Unforgiven 5 like lend themselves to that more. Whereas like like all the bands I was in before, just kind of like hardcore bands, I was just supposed to kind of like lay back and play loud and fast, but not, I don't know. I really think about like dynamics and stuff like that now, like making the loud parts like more impactful than just like playing loud all the time. But like Tony, just seeing Tony play, like he was, he was just opening everything up. It was crazy.
And so I might be wrong here, but was the first band you played with Shapeshifter?
Yeah, that was my first band. I met most of those dudes through like Indigo, and James Renzi singing that. We're still chilling now. My roommate, but yeah.
And
Shapeshifter, and then Beta Boys, I think.
Yeah.
Right after. And I also, like, when Dylan stopped playing in Night Moves, I did that for quite a while. That was fun. And Blood Shaman.
Yeah, so what?
There was, like, a period I was in, like, 5 bands, but I'm never going to do that. Like, it was awesome, but I can't do it like that.
You're capping it at 2 or 3 right now, so.
Yeah, just 2. Just 2.
And, but yeah, what was it, like, do you think it was, like, a challenge for yourself when you were just starting out, like, in Shapeshifter?
Yeah, definitely. I just really didn't know anybody, and I'd been going to shows for a while, but I definitely felt the need to, like, prove myself. So I had been, like, just listening to, I think I was listening to, like, the Brain Slug demo, this, like, New York hardcore thing, but just, like, trying to play, like, super tough and loud and all that, and it worked out. I remember, like, the first time jamming, they were all super stoked.
Was everyone in that band, like, pretty into like Youth Attack stuff back then too, or because I feel like I got a little bit of that energy from it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that was like a lot of Steve's influence for that. But yeah, there was like 2012, like that was definitely a time, an era.
Yeah. But what bands do you think of that era when you were kind of just first starting off were like the most important to you personally?
Ooh. Man, I'm trying to think of like, I feel like I'd be lying if I was like thinking of specific demos, but I was, even when I was playing in Shapeshifter, you know, I feel like I was still being exposed to so much. And even now I feel like a poser, you know, because like I came in when I was 18 and I don't have like I wasn't listening to like records like when I was younger and stuff, so I still feel like I have catching up to do. But, you know, so I was listening, like, people were just, like, showing me, like, oh, this is, like, Chromax. I'd be like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like, so, I was just, like, taking it all in for real. Well, like, definitely, though, like, more just, like, hardcore, you know, like, aggressive. I was all angsty and 19 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I feel, like, kind of the same way. Like, I think even though, like, I probably started going to DIY shows like just after you.
Yeah, no, I remember coming up.
But I was like, I am like a few years younger than you, so you know, I had those records a little earlier in my life than you did.
Yeah.
But I do feel kind of similar though, because like all I really had coming into DIY punk was like pretty much just like everything mentioned in the American Hardcore documentary.
Yeah.
Like I like that movie really was like the moment when I figured out like, oh, like this is really good stuff, and like I need to listen to way less like skate punk.
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah, like Casualties. I
was like super into No Effects and all that stuff, and like, you know, it's still fun stuff to listen to. But what was I saying though? But yeah, so like besides like the essential 80s bands and stuff, I think I was kind of like learning all of these newer bands as they came to town, and that was just my way of doing it.
Yeah.
And like I feel like it was probably a similar thing, just like, oh, there's this crazy band from like Texas that's coming to Kansas City. I've never heard of them. I don't know how I would, but now I know about them, and I'm just kind of adding to my like kind of personal collection.
Yeah, no, it was really, really cool to like find out about bands just by seeing them, you know.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen, so yeah.
And there's
a good time for shows.
Oh yeah. And there's always that thing too of just like you see this band and you have like no idea how like revered they are within the scene. Then they like never come back, and you're like, I wish I could have like appreciated that. Like I saw Kulo. The only time I saw Kulo was when they played like a surprise set at Outer Space.
Oh yeah, dude, I was at that show too.
No, and I had no idea who Kulo was, and I was there. I'm like, okay, this guy's naked. This is pretty crazy. Like, and I missed the other show they played after that, and they never came back. So I'm like, man, I wish I could do that again. But
I know I remember seeing like Glue. Like when I was first starting going to shows, and it was kind of cool, just like having no idea, but everyone's like freaking out. I was like, oh, this is cool.
Was that the Bad House show? Do you think?
Yeah.
I think that
like
might have been
I think it was like first lineup or whatever.
Yeah. And it was maybe when they were with Reside and Breakout, maybe.
Yeah, there was like a few. I feel like there's at least 2 or 3 bands on tour, but that was like my first exposure to Texas punk, which is now like a huge part of everything, I feel like. So
Oh yeah,
a crucial Texas sound.
Oh yeah, like if you're in Kansas City and like you're just not into what's happening in Texas punk, like you're probably not having a good time.
Yeah, like speaking of like accidentally seeing bands, like I remember seeing Wiccans at the Sweat Lodge, and I'd never heard of them. I just like friends with everyone that lived there, so I was just kind of there hanging out. And then I saw Wiccans. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And but yeah, so another couple. So you mentioned that you were in Blind Dog after Shapeshifter, and that was a really fun band. Do you have any like specific like memories of that jump out at you?
I for real, that was probably like unfortunately like the shortest band I was in, but it was like I really love that type of like that dark hardcore. It's like a good, just kind of like the good parts of metallic hard, and like I don't know, yeah.
But
and those dudes are all solid too.
Oh yeah,
so, yeah.
But something I meant to ask you though is like, since you're in Unforgiven 5 now, and that's more of like a more rock and roll type band than other stuff you've done, but you were playing in Blood Shaman for a while, and that was also a bit more of a rock and roll thing than other stuff you were in. So do you think that was like kind of a good precursor for what you're doing in Unforgiven?
Yeah, I think both, like, it's pretty natural, the sound. Like, definitely, like, trying, like, I know Unforgiven is like a rock band or whatever now, like, when I'm thinking about parts. But I really think it's just like James and I have been playing music together for so long that's just kind of like what it is. It's not like a evolution from Blood Shaman necessarily, but like, we were playing together then and now we're playing now and it sounds different, but I like, yeah.
Were you excited about like at that point when Blood Shaman was starting about like getting the chance to play something a little different than just like
I think
80s hardcore?
Yeah, that's really when I first started like trying to play outside of my comfort level like that, and trying new things. It's like kind of some awkward parts. I like have heard it, but that was sick. It was really good times, but yeah, started thinking about drums differently for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of mentioning like you have kind of like revisited that stuff lately.
Yeah, no, I'll always like. It's fun to listen to old stuff sometimes, but I'm not like trying to like relive my glory days or whatever. But yeah.
And yeah, so after that you end up playing in Beta Boys for a while too.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that was like maybe the first time you got to go on a big tour.
No, Beta Boys was like the first band I actually filled in for Dirty Work one time in Omaha. That was tight, but that was like my first out of town show. But yeah, Beta Boys, we did a West Coast tour with Dirty Work. That was my first tour. Yeah, we played like Everything Is Not Okay too. Probably my first fest I played. It was cool.
And what were some of the cities you got to hit on that tour?
Yeah, that was my first time ever being on the West Coast. Like, we kind of hit everything, like, I'm really bad at, like, the logistics of everything. Yeah. But, yeah, no, it was a great time. And, like, good to see the West Coast and just get used to playing out of town like that. Mm-hmm. I also forgot Deacons, too. Like, that was the same time.
Yeah.
There's, like, a lot of... Yeah, nothing personal. I'm just forgetting bands.
Oh, yeah. And so do you think did you guys do like Washington, Oregon, California?
We played. We actually we played the first Olympia Hardcore Fest. That was like one of the big highlights of the like plans of the tour to make it out to that, and we stayed like pretty much the whole time. And like that was the first time I met all those Olympia dudes. It was like. Yeah, it's so beautiful out there too. It's great. And
you're not getting the itch to move out there, are you?
No. It is so. Yeah, I totally understand, but I love Kansas. I love Kansas City too much for real. So yeah. And
I don't like. Things aren't like too drastically different within like hardcore punk right now. I feel like as opposed to like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. But I do, like, at least a little bit. I feel like it was, a little just, like, wilder back then in general. Like, and not to be like, oh, PC culture, everything's
no,
terrible.
I know what you mean.
But, yeah, people just did a little more, like, crazy shit back then. Like, are there any, like, just antics from that tour that, like, you can remember? Or
oh, man.
And it was cool if you don't want to speak on it.
No, like, it was amazing, but there was definitely a lot. Like I was driving a lot of that tour and just like so stoked to be on tour, but I definitely like made a lot of mistakes. I feel like getting lost, thought I like broke my leg too, but
How'd that happen?
just somebody like fell on my leg at a show like when I was just standing, so it just kind of. But I was limping the rest of the tour. Played a few shows on it, but.
What was that, like your right leg?
Yeah. It was at the first Berserk Town. I guess we played like every first fest.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What bands did you end up with on like those couple like West Coast fests? Like,
I remember like I was really into gag and all that at the time. You know, I feel like Olympia hardcore was like booming. Like I never really heard about like punk coming out of Olympia, and then all of a sudden it's like there are all these bands. So, and it's still, you know, they've been consistent the whole time. A lot of same dudes, but we actually it was nice. This last summer, Warm Bodies went on tour with Lumpy and the Dumpers, and it was like a very similar route. You know, not the same, but I got to see a lot of the same people and like play. You know, but with like a whole new set of experiences. So it was good.
And you mentioned that like with gag came like this kind of explosion of like Olympia hardcore, like just like 10 amazing bands like happening at once, and everyone's like, oh, Olympia is a crazy place to be right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I feel like maybe some people wouldn't even admit to it, but like hardcore punk in America does have those like kind of hot spots that like kind of happen and then they kind of blow over to some extent usually.
It is interesting. Like, there's not really like, there's always though some band, you know, it's not like there aren't other bands like Gag that are good or like, you know, out there doing similar things, but it's just like there's always going to be like the one band that's like highlighted for some reason. I don't feel like there's, I don't know. You gotta earn it, I guess.
But like, and maybe it's something that you can't answer because I can't really, because like being inside of Kansas City's scene, like it's kind of tough to get like to see like an outside perspective on it. But like I would be curious to like ask someone who does follow like American hardcore punk, like how they view Kansas City, like if there was like a moment where they thought like Kansas City was really hot and like if we aren't right now or if we are right now.
I think it just took us a while to be noticed, you know what I mean? I feel like there was like a period where it was getting like really hyped up, like I was talking about, like seeing all those Texas bands for the first time, like they were all like New Cult going down south and everything, but I think just we've been on the radar since. I don't know if, you know, that everything comes in waves, like fresh batch of bands and everything. I feel like there's been a lot more new bands recently, which is cool. Yeah.
And I think like maybe it's just because when like I thought about it like this because like Dirty Work was like, and like Dirty Work and New Cult were some of the first bands that I started to see regularly. But I do kind of feel like that was like a period when Kansas City started to get like a lot more national recognition.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of hard to tell when you're living there, like how it's viewed from the outside. But forget that.
It's interesting to think about that. Yeah. No, I feel you.
When. Like, can you tell me a little bit about how Warm Bodies kind of got its start?
Yeah, I've known all of them for a while. You know, like I work with Jordan at A.D.D Springs, so and I've known Ian for a long time too. Actually, like kind of even before I was like playing in bands and all that. But Jordan told me that him and Ian had been jamming and like they wanted to play in a fast band, like. Just play fast, and Olivia wanted to front a band for the first time, and I was just like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like I was like, that sounds crazy, but yeah, and then just like from there, kind of started. But I said yes.
And you mentioned that you have gotten to tour with that band too.
Yeah, Warm Bodies, has taken me the most places like that for sure. It's been really nice.
Yeah, because
we've done like we've done like a bunch of little weekends and stuff like that. Play St. Louis a lot. But yeah, our first tour was down south, 2 weeks down south. And it was well received, and we had a good time. That was my first time playing in the South too, like all the way, not just Texas. But yeah, and then we just went on that last West Coast tour, going to Europe in March. So.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask. Like either I knew you guys either had gone somewhere out of the country or you were going to. So is this the first time you're?
Yeah, this is like pretty much the first time I'm like going out of the country, you know. So it's crazy. Like I definitely would not be able to do a trip like this unless, you know, I was playing or something. So it's awesome opportunity. Yeah.
Where are you guys going in Europe?
We're flying, actually, like, right after this upcoming Everything Is Not Okay, we're flying out of Chicago to Milan, and then it's all over. I don't really have all the...
So you're doing Italy and...
Yeah, like Spain.
England,
I know we're not doing,
France?
like, any UK or, like, England,
Oh, no.
but, well, yeah. Yeah,
So-
it'll be... Yeah.
So-
It's going to be...
Are you fluent in any other?
No, I actually used to. I went to Academy Lafayette from like 1st through 5th grade, so I'm like familiar with French, but it's been so long. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure enough people out there know English, so not a huge problem. But
yeah, it's exciting though for real.
And I know, man, Italian hardcore is like pretty crazy in general.
Yeah.
I just actively don't really keep up with a ton of like European hardcore right now,
Yeah,
but
there's
like
stuff going on though.
all the past like Italian stuff that people have shown me, like Smart Cops and like all those types of bands are like really unique.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you'll get to see some fun stuff out there.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I have no idea like what type of bands we'll be playing with, but I'm excited. So yeah.
And so Warm Bodies is also about to release an LP right now. Is this the first 12-inch that you've got?
Yeah,
that'll
be my first LP. Yeah, we've put out a couple 7-inches. Like the demo got repressed, and we recorded with James for My Burning Love 7-inch that Grace Ambrose at Thrilling Living put out. Trying to do my promos right now.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Grace.
Yeah, shout out to James, Juice. But yeah, this is my first LP, and we just recorded it. Kind of came together last minute, but I'm pretty proud of it. You know, I'm really into the new songs, and we're having it pressed for that European tour out there, but also Martin is gonna put out a U.S. pressing too.
So it'll be on Lumpy Records.
Yeah, Fish Records.
Fish
I think it might be Fish. I don't know.
Yeah, it's his little sub label.
Yeah. It'll be out. It'll be Lumpy.
And are these like all new songs that are?
We re-recorded some old songs actually, like some songs from the demo. Yeah, we just play them so differently now that it's kind of nice to like revisit them like that. You know, so
have they just kind of like evolved like as you played them live, or?
Yeah, definitely. I like found our sound. You know, like I definitely feel very in sync with Jordan and Ian and Olivia. You know, but like Jordan and Ian especially, I feel like we just like play music together now. So it's pretty natural.
Oh yeah, you guys do have like a really like kind of interesting chemistry like when you play together. So.
I've never played music like this, but it's great. We're like just like all soloing on top of each other, but it works somehow. But yeah, we just like play. If anything, we're just playing them like twice as fast. Like sometimes I shouldn't be talking like that, I guess, but like the demo to me sounds like it's like 33 when I listen to it. I'm like, damn, I was playing it so slow, you know. I've stepped it up since then, so yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's not even like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I see Warm Bodies so often, like I haven't even like really noticed the difference, but like thinking about it now, like thinking about the demo in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, they are playing this a lot faster.
I know, yeah, that's kind of what I realized too. So, like, you know, there's people that haven't seen us live. I can't just assume everyone has seen my band. Not everyone has seen my band.
everyone should see your band, though.
Yes.
But yeah, would you? So you said you guys are playing, like your style of playing in general is a little different now than when the band started.
Yeah.
How would you say, like, how would you compare the new songs to like the past material? Would you say, like, is there like a real like difference you could talk about?
I feel like we've kind of been on a similar pace for a while, but like, you know, it's always like evolving, but I feel like you can tell each time, you know, like we haven't come that far away from the demo or anything like that. But yeah, it's just I'm really proud of like the Eats Non-Rot tape still. I really like the sound in that. And that was the first time for real I was like this, like when we were writing those songs, I was like, yeah, like, you know, we had been playing together, like we had done a tour. We had been playing together like a year, and I felt like we were finally like writing songs like all together. You know what I mean? Instead of just like making it work or whatever, just like trying to write songs. It's just like happening naturally. So
yeah, because I think there are a lot of bands out there that really do just kind of like piece their songs together, like in kind of a more like scientific way instead of just like being a really tight-knit band that like writes together and stuff.
No, totally. Yeah, because this is Ian's first punk, like I was saying, it's Olivia's first time fronting a band. She's killing it. And it's Ian's first punk band, he's killing it. But yeah, it's just like I have a background, I guess, in like jazz and Latin, like you were saying, and then like Ian was coming from a different background, and Jordan like has been playing in punk bands forever, so it's just like a good mix, you know, like yeah. Ian's like young Jimi Hendrix, you know, so Jordan and I just have to like tame him. That's basically the dynamics.
Yeah, does Ian just like come at you guys with like some like really like left field shit sometimes?
Yeah, but
like,
it's always great though. Yeah. Like, you know, like that. It just took me a while to. Yeah. Ian's just like
And you say Jimi Hendrix partially because of the.
Yeah,
like
that I just mean
split.
he's just a madman, you know. He's like a mad scientist on this shit. It's crazy. Yeah.
So Ian can throw in his Instagram bio punk rock Jimi Hendrix and
hashtag evil genius mad scientist.
And yeah, so you were saying that you met Jordan through. Oh, I don't know if you met him through it, but since you guys both work at Oddities,
yeah.
How did you first start? Like, did you just shoot in an application, or is
I was an intern my sophomore year of college. I went to UMKC for studio art, so I was like taking some printmaking classes, and I just knew Jordan from seeing Dark Ages. You know that like Dark Ages was huge when I was first going to shows, or like at least to me, you know, it's just like Dark Ages. But and then so I just like interned there, and it went well, you know, and I kept studying printmaking, and then like Oddities became a thing, and they were like rehabbing the building, but just after a while, Jordan can't do everything, you know, so I came in and like while I was still in school too, but just started working for him and like learning how to print shirts and stuff. So it was really nice. Like it was crazy how much I learned in like such a short amount of time compared to like those 3 years of studying art. You know what I mean? Like it was great for me. So and I've been there for like 3 years as a printer. Yeah.
And but yeah, how far back does your visual art work like kind of extend?
I guess it's kind of the same as drumming, you know, like I always like I was saying, my parents are just supportive, you know, so I would always be like drawing and stuff, and all throughout. I never like really took it super seriously, you know. I was taking extra art classes in high school, but like who isn't, you know? So but yeah, it was like I just kind of decided to study studio art. You know, I was thinking about going to the conservatory for music, but I just like didn't really want to do that. You know, like I'm glad I did what I did. You know, so.
Do you think it's just kind of like because punk offers a little more like artistic freedom, and you figure you can just like
it's more so that I'm just like not cut out for the conservatory. You know, like that's just not how I just can't like do music like I really enjoy taking lessons, but I also had to stop doing that at a certain point. You know, it's just like felt natural. And like printing came like really naturally to me too, I feel like, or I just like immediately liked it. You know, it's very repetitious and
and your style like is really kind of like there's a big, I feel like there's a big focus on like geometry and like
it's
like,
very graphic like that. And I definitely think about my art like in terms of like printmaking now, like just like all my drawings kind of like in that style with like that in mind, like how it would be printed. So it's cool.
And what would you say like some of your biggest inspirations are as far as like your graphic work?
For real, like similar to like being like stoked on like all the bands that I was seeing, I was also like at that same time like being exposed to like all these new artists and stuff I'd never heard about. But like really like Young Ice coming up, I was like just trying to rip off Olivia and Danny Parliament. Yeah, so Danny and Olivia are still some of my favorite artists, you know, inspired by them all the time. Plenty of other people too, so
like like who was big for you like kind of growing up though, like as you were like just first kind of delving into,
I guess I was kind of, I don't know, nothing like too specific like that. Like I just it's like a little kid watching cartoons, you know, so I'd draw stuff like that and draw like comics or whatever. But no like I was taking drum lessons, but I wasn't taking like private art classes or anything. I don't know.
So were you pretty like, is there any like, because I know you've done like album art and stuff for like Night Moves and like you did the Trader K9 demo.
I've had a few commissions like that.
Wait, are there any of those that you're like most proud of that you got to do for other bands and stuff?
I love them all. I think one of my favorite designs is that last Night Moves t-shirt with the Motel Capri on it.
Oh yeah, it has like the Grim Reaper on it.
Yeah, that was actually before I was doing anything at Oddities. Like Jordan just printed them for us. But I really like that one. My style has kind of changed a lot. I haven't been making too much of my own art, unfortunately, but I actually have a commission I'm trying to start now, so new stuff soon, hopefully.
How would you say that your style has changed since back then?
I was drawing a bunch of Reapers and stuff like that. Yeah, like my art was definitely like kind of like fully influenced by punk at the time. You know, that was like all consuming to me, I guess. But just over the, you know, like finding my own style through school and like with printmaking, I draw just like bricks now. That's kind of, I'm like really into like landscapes and just like how much architecture, you know what I mean, without ever having like figures in your work, like just making landscapes like that. Prisonscapes.
Prisonscapes. No, yeah, because I'm thinking of one of your designs that you've done. I might have the wrong name for it, but I don't even know the name for it. But like it was like a prison with like a watchtower in the middle of it. Was that like a design?
Oh, that's like I think a shapeshifter shirt maybe.
Yeah. But I feel like it got used for a recent like show flyer.
I'm not sure.
No, it was for like the Iron Cages show, I think.
Oh yeah. That was me. It's like a. What's it called? Octa something.
Like a panoptic?
Yeah. Panopticon.
Yeah.
Panopticon. Yeah, it's just, yeah.
And that's part
Like
of the
really-
prison landscape thing that you're into?
Yeah. I've kind of been just drawing, like, prisons exclusively. Yeah.
Do you know if do you think there's much of a reason for that, or you
Yeah,
just,
I
kinda
just,
like
like, I don't know. I feel like it's able to, like, communicate. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. But just, like, really oppressive, you know, like, express that, like, the feeling you get when you think about prison or whatever, like, just by looking at the building, you know. You can do that through perspective and, like, manipulating stuff like that. But even just in general, I find those buildings to just be, like, you know, it's crazy. Like, you're just looking downtown. There's, like, highways and everything, like, banks, and then there's just, like, a jail, like, up in the middle, you know. So, just, like, out in there. I don't know. Yeah.
And yeah, I did want to, of course, ask where does the ICE moniker really stem from?
Yeah, I started using ICE, the alias, like when I was 18. I got, like, my second tattoo was a diamond on the side of my head. I have, like, a diamond on the right side of my head, and, like, my friend at the time, like, when he saw it, he was just, like, couldn't believe it or whatever. It's like, oh, ICE head. So I just rolled with that for a while. But, you know, you can't be having people call you ICE head forever. So it kind of naturally turned into just ICE. Yeah.
And
I've been rolling with it.
yeah, and that kind of has trickled over into, like, your design work, and you ended up having the t-shirts that you made.
Yeah, it is funny, like, how just kind of like a weird inside joke or whatever to me has, like, become such a, I feel like it's very possible these days to, like, create, like, a persona on the internet or something, you know, like, if you really want to, you can, like, I don't know, there's totally, like, Instagram celebrities and stuff that have, like, followings. Not anything like that, but just, like, if you just keep saying it, you know, people, like, believe it.
Oh yeah, and like,
there's, like, people that don't know me at all, but, and, you know, I don't think they get it's just a joke or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like it like something like that is kind of real easy to stumble into now. Like, people will just, like, kind of recognize you for, like, your brand or the word most, like, associated with you, and like that can be all they know, but, like, they know you to some extent. So
yeah, I guess it is in a way, like, kind of mocking that, you know.
Yeah,
because, like, you could see the word ICE every day, you know. It's, like, the most common thing, and there's so many, like, easy just stereotypes about it or whatever, but yeah.
and so do you have, like, further plans for, like, doing, like, more clothing and, like, other stuff with the name?
Yeah, I was actually just talking to Jordan today about maybe printing some more long sleeves, cold out. But for real, like, those ice shirts were, like, the first long sleeves I printed. So, like, I've looked at them and been like, man, I've come, like, my prints are, like, so much better now. So I would like to come at it with a fresh start.
I was thinking about wearing mine for the interview, but I'm like, no,
that's cool.
It'd be a little on the nose.
Cross promotion.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And
soon, hopefully. Sooner than you think.
Yeah. But also recently you've had last year you put out the ice tape and the fanzine.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what kind of inspired that?
That was just kind of I guess like a retail idea I had. I just wanted to see if it would work, but also you know, there's like a huge tape culture in punk and everywhere else too. So I would just already making mixtapes and stuff like that. But I just, you know, I just have all these punk tapes, but I'd be like, I listen to a lot of hip hop, and you know, a lot of stuff now like doesn't even there's like no physical copy of it, so it's just kind of like I just thought it'd be cool to like put that on a tape, and you know, it's not made to be or it's not like recorded or like mixed to be played on that format, so it like kind of has a different sound, which I think is cool. But yeah, so it's just like a hip hop mix basically. And yeah, I got Ice Tape 2 finished, but not out yet. So
And are y'all out of the first one?
yeah, I think I have like one copy that I'm trying to like keep for myself. But yeah, no zine or anything. But yeah, I released the first one at the expo, our first expo, and it went well.
And that was like, it was like pretty much like a fanzine. Like you printed photos you had Gucci.
Yeah,
in there
it was like all like affiliate. Like each song basically had its own page with like some memorable quotes from the songs. And
you had the iced out bar. You had the Gucci chain.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there's the second one is less just like doesn't have to be, every song doesn't have to be about ice. Yeah. But as much as the first.
And you'll have the second one at like some of the mixtape parties coming up.
Yeah, they're what is it today? Tomorrow, the 26th. There's a mixtape swap at like 7 p.m. at Revolution Records. And so, yeah, I'm going to try and have some copies of bootlegs of Ice too available. So.
Do you know if they'll be like kind of more widely available? Like if they'll be on like the Oddities store? Or
yeah, we're definitely, Oddities is push. I was also going to say like the Ice Tape kind of turned into like, where like we sell like a mixtape starter kit basically like at the shop now. And so just like, the Ice Tape worked and went well, so we're doing that. But I'll probably have it for sale at the odd shop, maybe online. Yeah.
And one of the last things I wanted to talk to you about though is like, so that whole mixtape is like a lot of trap music and that kind of stuff. And I've kind of like grown to realize you have like I think you have a pretty specific taste when it comes to hip hop music. So
yeah, not that like the Ice Tape is like a Bible of by any means, but I like him. Have always really been about Southern rap. There's always been stuff coming out of Atlanta, but like probably like 80% of what I listen to is like artists from Atlanta. So
I know you do some Memphis stuff too.
Yeah.
I know, Tommy Wright. Yeah, you did like a Tommy Wright bootleg T-shirt other like a year or two ago. Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, it's all like, and just like how like coming from like jazz background kind of like helps me think about playing punk drums differently. Like I'm like thinking about like even though it's like produced on the computer or whatever, like there's like so much crazy rhythm stuff happening in those songs that like a lot of it's like impossible in real life, or like basically impossible, but it's like really cool to like just be like have a more open mind about like what's possible with rhythms and stuff. It's
So is there maybe a little Zaytoven influence on the Warm Bodies?
Yeah. Ice on the track. No, but yeah, like I'm like so nerdy about all the hip hop stuff. Like I love, like I'll just like have like producers all like, so I'll just like listen to all the songs, and that's how I find out about artists often. It's like if I know the producer, I'm probably gonna like the song. So yeah. And
so has Southern rap always like really been your thing since you were like a kid listening to hip hop, or has it kind of just grown into that over the years?
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely wasn't like as narrow and like as I am now, but like like Paul, I just saw you posted pictures from the Paul Walsh show. I unfortunately couldn't go, but I remember I was probably in like 5th or 6th grade when all that like Mike Jones, Paul Walsh, like all that Swisher House movement was a huge influence on Ice, believe it or not. But yeah, so all that, Southern. Yeah, I guess it was like mostly Texas at first, but then definitely gravitated more towards contemporary stuff. So.
Yeah, and I know you had a DJ Screw track on the first Ice tape. So.
Yeah, no, the first Ice tape, I guess I was really trying to like cover all my bases more, and I feel more comfortable now to just like I narrowed it down to just all stuff that's released from 2017. But yeah.
So yeah, it'll be a good like kind of year in review. And,
Yeah,
like, so
that's kind of what I want them to be now. It's just like a summary. Like it'll come out like after the New Year each year.
Yeah, people will know what you're listening to.
Yeah, Ice 3 already in the works.
Awesome. And also like maybe this isn't it, but like I feel like you also, at least when it comes to hip hop, you have like a real kind of focus on like authenticity when you're like listening to some of these rappers. Like there's like people that like I don't know, just from talking to you, I feel like you don't take them quite as seriously if they, you know, maybe don't have like real street cred or stuff like that. Is that something that you think about?
It's something that's like talked about constantly, you know, and just like in lyrical content, it's like all like, but I definitely like think about it, but no, I really feel like I know what I like now more so than that. There's just like so much music coming out now that you just really have to be able to filter it out, but also like embrace new stuff too. It's like a big thing. Yeah.
Embrace new stuff, 2018.
Yes,
everyone.
yes.
But yeah, so is there anything coming up that you want to make sure people know about? Any shout outs and stuff? So you got the Warm Bodies LP coming soon.
Yeah, Warm Bodies LP coming out. Yeah, shout out to Martin. Thank you for putting it out. Ice Tape 2 coming out whenever I feel like it. And yeah, that's about it. Just look for shows.
Awesome.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, and people can follow at Shuttlecock Mag on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can visit shuttlecockmusic.com to find all the articles. There's a web store on there, too. You can get the T-shirt printed at Oddities Prints.
Yeah, by Ice himself.
Yeah, and the new, the year 2 photo zine is there, too. And we also have buttons. And make sure you listen to the A.D.D podcast with Jason Barr. And yeah, where can people find you online?
Follow Oddities Prince at Oddities Prince on Instagram and at Gabe Coppage if you wish. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being on the show this week.
Thanks,
Appreciate you coming.
It's a pleasure. Thanks, dude.